Tony, warm welcome to Startup Grind.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Before we jump into the subject, can you briefly introduce yourself and the background you have, the previous companies and the work have you done?
So I'm managing director of Adaptive Media that's based here in Hong Kong. So it's a startup, and the startup is very much focused on customer experience, on innovation, video innovation, and with a layer of AI avatars, and we'll get into that a bit later. But the backstory of Adaptive Media is that my previous agency, or my UK agency, is focused on personalized video, data-driven video, and the evolution of that is adding the AI to the mix. And then sort of rewinding back to my sort of origin story, as it were, I started in architecture and moved from architecture into a kind of the world of, it was called generative design at the time. So this was back in the 90s when it was all kind of, okay, you can program stuff and make lots of shapes and grow cities and grow buildings. That was the sort of the origin. And then I kind of moved on to creative, to video, but still with a toe in the kind of innovation and interactive domain, when it was CD-ROMs, websites, VR, it was all that kind of, brave new world. And then I think we're kind of getting into a place now where all of those things are kind of converging and also possible. I think the things that we thought we could do, we'd have to use we had to leave the computer rendering overnight so we could get an animation done, and now it's, we start getting pissed off when it's like 30 seconds to get a mid-journey image. But anyway, yeah, so that's my kind of convoluted meander. And as much as customer experience and innovation seems quite remote from architecture, it still feels like it's in the same mindset, if you know what I mean.
Well, I guess people who use buildings are customers in some form. So,
and they're interacting, right?
Yeah.
And there's experience, and it's you could look at parallels in that sense as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, So today we're going to talk about transforming the customer experience with generative AI, and sort of especially when it comes to this crucial step of onboarding a customer and sort of keeping customers. And for a startup, the ones who have read the book Crossing the Chasm, they would sort of see that any customer that you have, of course, is super important. And how can you then help that customer, maybe a freemium customer, become a paying customer, etc. So that's what we're going to talk about and look at tonight. So Tony, but before that, a little bit of a background. So what is the biggest factor for companies not getting the full potential from a customer?
Yeah, I think that's part of the story here is that, the customer experience, we often sort of draw it as a line with all these different points on the line. And each of those points, if you imagine this sort of traditional, you go from the traditional funnel, which would be awareness, consideration, conversion, and then you hop people over the line, they've bought something, then they're onboarded, have they had a good experience of onboarding? And then are they going to stick around? If they've had a good experience, they might stick around. Are they then going to tell all their mates, come buy the product? Are they going to, when it's time to renew, are they going to renew? So those kinds of things. And that's typically that sort of, the old school funnel, customer journey, circle, virtuous circle. What are the interesting things is that, what we've seen now is the way that people interact with brands. They dip in and dip out, and they interact in lots of different ways. It's not really a funnel. It's not really a circle. It's more of a sort of crazy sort of pattern, moving around into different touch points with the brand. One of the key things that we've ended up doing a lot of, as much as we do stuff in acquisition, we do data-driven video, we do interactions with the conversion part of the funnel. We do the conversion when it comes to the actual purchase. But where it really settles, this data-driven personalized video world is in that step over the threshold to become a customer. And a lot of the work that we've done in the past is focused on onboarding customers, making sure that they have a good experience from the outset, making sure that they sort of understand what it is that they're going to get. And part of that, I guess, to simplify the answer, is if the customer's alignment, if they're not aligned with the brand and their expectations of what they're going to get, then they're going to have a bad experience from the outset. So if they're not aligned, and if you can equip them with the information they need to have a good experience from day one, they're much, much more likely to stick around, and they're the things that we've had in terms of many customer experience conversations, it's very much about set the tone from the outset. The customer's they've seen the ads, or they've been brought in, they've signed up, they've got certain expectations. If you can make sure that those expectations are aligned, then you're onto a winner. And a very good way to get those expectations to align is through personalization. Personalized video, personalized emails, personalized landing pages, or at least focused on what it is that they thought they were going to get in the first place.
Yeah. And when we spoke last week, we talked a little bit about it's not good when the customer's first thing to do is to call the customer support, which I recognize has happened to me as well, because you buy something and then you get an email and you're not really sure what they meant about the deal. Are they sign up for a year or just for a month? So what are your your experience from that? What does your clients tell you?
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. I think, we talked about this when we caught up, was this idea of, I think one client talked about it as an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. This idea that if your first interaction with the brand is you're phoning up the customer support to say, I don't really get it. I don't know, why am I paying all this? Or what have I got here? That is typically setting them on a journey to leave. That's typically, if they feel like they're being, I don't know, if they're being ripped off, if they don't understand the product, if they think they bought something that they haven't actually paid for, or if they haven't paid for something and they're not using it, then, or they're paying for something and they're not using it, then that creates a confusion, and they don't know why they're going to stick around, and they're much more likely to leave at the end of it. So the purpose of the content, purpose of personalization, purpose of content, purpose of things like FAQs, the purpose of those kinds of, and we'll get onto the avatars in a bit, but the whole purpose of those things is to create pretty much the fence at the top of the cliff. This idea that, okay, well, you don't want people jumping off, you don't want people having a bad experience from the outset. So make sure that they're equipped with the right information, they understand what they bought into, they understand what they need to get full value of the product as well. And these are things that we've seen a lot of the time is simple things like watching an explainer video about a product will then help people fully understand what it is that they're buying into.
Yeah, and because people have some people they read, they listen, they watch. So what would you say is a ballpark figure in regards to the untapped potential of customers that commonly would either sign up and leave immediately or not sign up at all, that through using these tools, you can sort of increase the number of customers?
Yeah, no, I mean, there are lots of numbers that get thrown around. So, but one of our clients was they gave it a figure, they gave it a number, and that was in the UK it was £70 a point of contact with the customer support team, or a complaint, a phone call that is a complaint. They saw that as had a monetary value of £70, because what that then meant was that customer was already on the journey to leave. So. It could be any number, but if you think about the key metrics would be you're spending all this money to acquire the customer. Day one, they have a crap experience. They're on the path to leave, and you're losing that lifetime value. So you've paid all that for a customer, and then the ultimate lifetime value. So you could work that out. You could say, okay, lifetime value is X, number of customers is Y, or acquired in a year is Y. The risk of them having a bad experience is going to increase the churn by 10%. So put all those metrics in place and multiply them, and that's your figure, right?
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of could be the North Star to aim for as well. I mean, as you said, it's very good when, as you said, your clients had £70 per customer call. It really shows the value of making a better interface, or better onboarding journey, because and then you can also justify the cost it takes, or the time it takes to build that. Definitely. So today we're gonna, before we move in sort of the AI part, to show what you actually do, you have prepared a short demonstration.
These are the things we talked about. this idea that when you deliver stuff through video, I think we talked about this when we met up last week, just this idea that going from actually I've got this is the classic slide, right? So you've got the chaos of old school, this is how it used to be. People would get handed a whole load of welcome letters, or a brochure that says, this is how the product works, or a manual. Fine, maybe some of that stuff needs to be there, but really what we're looking at doing is a transformation, and the transformation is We are initially looking at video as the transformation of that content, and from that video, we're looking at also at personalized video as the way of making each video relevant. And then going from personalized video, we're also looking at how that video can have an avatar, an AI generated avatar, so that person can then talk to you. These are the assets that you've got available to you that can make the onboarding much more effective. There's a study, HubSpot brought it out, but it's kind of anecdotal, that people are 8 times more likely to retain content from a video than they are in like a PowerPoint or a PDF or a piece of written word. There's a whole load of others. I think I've seen it 10 times, it's 9 times, but I think anecdotally it's like, okay, if you watch something, you're more likely to get it than you are to read it. And even if it's an email, you're probably less likely to open the email in the first place. And one of the things that we found was with one of the clients we had was they ran a multivariate test, ABCD, of a generic email versus a personalized email versus a generic video versus a personalized video. And what we saw was that, this is all obvious stuff, but it's nice to get validated. The personalized video was 3 times more likely to get interactions or engagement than the text email. But more interesting than that was that the email was more likely to get opened in the first place when the word video was mentioned in the subject header. The video is more likely to get clicked on if you saw the thumbnail had your name on it and it was looking like a person. So all of these things compounds, all the metrics compound to get much better results. So that's part of the story. There is it's really about the transformation of, and it's a classic sort of digital transformation story, but we're taking that step further. Here's another interesting stat. Now, again, these are quite chunky numbers, so I don't know if we're tracking to get to that point, but by 2026, this is a Gartner report from last year, 2026, over 100 million humans will engage robo-colleagues, so synthetic virtual colleagues to contribute to enterprise work. Let's see how that pans out. And then by 2026, 50% of all sales and marketing software providers will incorporate advanced virtual avatars as their front-end user interface. And that's quite interesting. And that was 2% in 2023. So tiny percentage. Even if these numbers aren't going to reach that, I think we are going to see a transformation in the way that people interact. The upside is that these synthetic humans, or however we want to refer to them, we call them AI avatars to keep it simple, or digital twins, some people refer to them as, can speak lots of languages as well. So, if you imagine you've got a product that has a very small footprint in English language or in the language or in your local language, you're immediately increasing the footprint by going multi-language, but having that human that presents at the same time. This goes back to where we populate, the conversation we had earlier. Now the buying journey starts with 70% of customers through online search, moving onto the website. This is where the avatar can live as an AI generated explainer in mobile apps, and then through comms, whether it's through push notifications or CRM. And then these are the sort of 4 pillars that we're looking at for the AI as well, for the avatars. You've got your explainer videos that have AI generated characters that are presenting. They look like people, they talk like people, and they talk like the people you might meet if you went in store, but now you're looking at them online. We can use that same person and the same character for an AI generated, a multi-language video, so in local language. We can also use it to put characters in a personalized video, so they can say your name, they can say, "Hi Jens, welcome to BT, welcome to AT&T," or whatever the brand is. And then lastly, the more nuanced, the more complex integration is moving from the sort of chatbot type interaction to being a fully live streamed digital human that then talks to you through the website or through the app, and you can have a live conversation. Now, it's interesting, it's early days, but this is absolutely the way things are starting to shift. For some interactions, maybe some people will feel uncomfortable to begin with, but let me go through some examples. So here's something that we did for this BT in the UK. Now, this is a personalized data-driven video. This will come off, and this is the classic, this is putting the fence at the top of the cliff, stop people complaining. So the idea here is that the first bill you get as a brand new customer, accompanying that bill, you get a video that explains how your bill works and why it costs what it costs. One of the challenges that a lot of these service companies have is the first interaction they have is they get their bill, and the bill is more than was advertised. So the advert says, okay, it's going to be $50 a month. Your first bill is $80. You know, your first interaction is you feel like you've been conned, right? So part of that bill is a video explainer that's personalized that breaks down your bill. Let me play this. It probably makes more sense than me just talking about it.
Hello, Dave. We're from BT. It's really good to have you with us, and we're going to talk you through your first bill. Your bill is made up of 4 sections: one-off charges, rental and other charges, changes before this bill, and what you used.
Let's start at the top. One-off charges include things like delivery, an engineer connecting your line, activation fees, and any new kit you needed to get set up. And this is what that section comes to. The next 2 sections, rental and other charges and changes before this bill, are linked, and it's all to do with dates. Rental and other charges is the cost of all the services you have with us, including any discounts. As you're new to BT, we need to let you know more about the date.
I'm not going to go through Dave's whole bill, but you get the idea. So Dave's got this video that comes with his bill that explains how it's broken down. Now I'll just play the beginning, because I think this is quite an interesting point that, you know, where the generative AI can step in. So, you know, obviously we've got 2 characters. They are the human face. It looks like a shop. It kind of looks like an Apple store, and you get this video. And one of the feedbacks we had was that people thought that they could actually go to this particular shop. It didn't exist, but this was built as a sort of virtual environment that you've got some friendly faces in. But I'll just play the beginning just to continue the conversation about generative AI. So
Hello, We're from BT.
So Dave's name, actually, what we did in this instance was we had the presenter, the talent there. So we had her in a recording studio, and she recorded 800 names with the greeting. So she would say, "Hi, Dave. Hi, Tony. Hi, Jens. Hi, Toby." And we'd have all those chunks of audio that we can then use for the data-driven video. Now, fast forward to 2023-24, we've got the capability to have that talent, have the presenter turned into an avatar, and to say the names and say those different data points that we've got in person. So we've now gone over that hump where we're now able to do a lot more with because this video here is not AI generated. This is generated from a dynamic video, which is kind of Lego pieces that get bolted together. Now I'm going to show this other bloke now. This guy here. I don't know if you recognize him. This is
Hello, I'm Tony's digital twin and AI generator.
So this is all 100% synthetic. So this is AI generated. This has the ability to say anything you want from a script. And that script can be either like a Word document type script or from a PowerPoint or a PDF. But the other way the text can be generated is dynamically. And that dynamic text can be from data points. It can be from a CSV file. It can be from a CRM database, or it could be through some sort of feed that then interacts with the ability to create the video and then generate the script. The script could be plugged into a GPT, a transformer, that could then generate a realistic natural language sounding script as well. So there's some quite interesting things we can do. So this is another technology that can sit alongside the personalized video technology that you can see now how when these technologies are stacked.
Avatar, let's see what I can do. First, let's see if I can speak French. Bonjour, je suis le jumeau numérique de Tony et il semble que je parle couramment le français. Pas mal, hein? Or how about...
Anyway, you get the idea. So the idea here is that we've got the ability to create a digital human. We've got the ability to create dynamic scripts from data points. We've got the ability to deliver video via any method, CRM, through email, through mobile, push notifications. So all these different technologies. And when you bring them all together, you've got a very interesting proposition where you can be highly reactive, but also you can put a human face on that ability to react as well. And this is in linear video. So this will get delivered via video, via CRM, via mobile, as a fixed linear video that has a beginning and has an end. Yeah, I'll show. Here's an example of a mix of video plus.
Hello, Tony, and thanks for choosing Honda Financial Services to fund your car. Here's your personalized welcome video explaining the key elements of the agreement. You've decided to fund your car using our personal contract purchase plan. So, let's take a look at your repayment schedule. You have 24 monthly payments of £249.99, followed by a final payment of £8,000, which is based on an annual mileage of 15,000 miles. And your APR is 5.9%, so the total amount payable is £10,000, including your deposit, applicable interest and charges. If you do decide to return your car at the end of your agreement and have exceeded your contract mileage, then your excess mileage charge will be 10p per mile. Now, let's take a look at your key payment dates. Your monthly payment is due on the 1st of every month starting on the 1st of July, and your final payment will be on this date. Then, you'll have 3 options to choose from when you come to the end of your agreement. Option 1. Keep your car by paying the final payment, and option to purchase fee. You'll then own it outright. Option 2. Hand your car back to us without paying the final payment. If you've exceeded your agreed mileage, or if it's not in a good condition, there may be additional charges to pay. Or option 3. Part exchange your car, then together with your local...
So that's you've got the intro there, which is, you've bought this car, this is how much you're going to be paying, this is what you're paying for, and this is what's going to happen at the end of your... So this is an onboarding video, but he makes reference there to the offboarding, as it were, where you will then be either a brand new car owner in 3 years' time, or you'll hand it back, or you'll work out some new deal where you can get a new car. And all the content here, all the assets here can then be reused, repurposed for the end of that cycle, So what we've got here is the ability to then generate lots of content that then populate other parts of the ownership cycle or the service cycle, whatever it might be. And I guess, one of the things to rewind back to that crossing the chasm point that you mentioned, I think it's a book, isn't it, where it's very much about aligning expectations of the customer with what they're buying into. Trouble with a lot of potential customers is they're in the mindset of buying something, they're very excited, but then that excitement can die off very quickly. So the capabilities here that you can communicate the nice things about what you bought into, remind them why they bought into it, and then keep populating the content with the stuff that is relevant to them is absolutely key. The other thing we haven't really talked about is the fact that you can generate lots of content without getting real humans back into a film studio. So the cost per asset goes right down. You captured these guys, they've been filmed, their voices have been captured, obviously with permission, their likenesses have been captured. We've then got the ability to generate lots and lots and lots of content. And one client last month mentioned to me was that traditionally they wouldn't have generated this much content. They just wouldn't have generated this much video content. They would have had an FAQ on the website, a bunch of text on the landing page, and that's kind of it. But with this process, they're able to then generate video for each part. And this is, word for word what they were saying was that they'd be able to generate video content for each stage on the customer journey, which is absolute key with a financial services product.
This is basically taking, because we all see what can be done with AI, but now you're actually doing it at scale. You're doing it not just doing one video, you're doing hundreds of videos or thousands of videos that are personalized.
Exactly. And that's the benefit. Yeah.
Because as you said, when this gets connected to a CRM system, then it can be used by anyone who's got a customer service or who's in the marketing and sales department. Then now they can generate those videos rather than having the person who is keen to do this in just one video with an online service. So yeah, it's amazing how you do it at scale.
Yeah. And that's the way it's positioned. And the conversation that we have is that if you're sending out emails that are personalized, that say, "Hi Jens, welcome to your new Honda," which most businesses are, if you're already doing that, the data points that you've got that are generating those emails can also be used as data points to generate the videos. So it's stuff that you're already doing, and it's all, key thing, big questions we get, is it data compliant? Is it secure? All those things. It all comes under ISO 27001. So the data's secure. We don't actually see the data. It goes into a secure FTP where it then gets hashed and then it generates the videos. So it's customers that sees the video. We generate test videos. We create what's called a data dictionary where we then create the test videos off the back of test data points, so we know what roughly they're going to look like, so we can run the test, we can do the QA, but the actual customer data we don't see. The other thing is there's other parts to the customer journey that don't require customer data as well. Things like product information, where we can create lots and lots of videos about lots and lots of products. I've got one more, Jens. I've got one more video I didn't get onto, which was, I think, the preamble to this is the evolution. I think I mentioned it earlier, and that is the idea of a live streamed avatar. And this is to replace the chatbot. So the chatbot, everyone has a crap experience of a chatbot. It says, how can I help you? You type in your questions and you get a load of generic answers. It's like a decision tree, and then it ultimately sends you off to, make a phone call. So the purpose of this new kind of, it's a natural language interface with a human that sits on top of it, is that you can interact through natural language. What it can also do is, underneath that, what's looking like a human can be what is a GPT type large language model that can have natural language conversations. So
do you want to share that and show us to us?
I'll run it first, and then and then, all right. Yep. Should be back on. I'm going to play this, and this is a test that we're running. This is all early days. This is all the software is just coming out of beta now. What we've got here is a mid-journey created person. So that person's based on what the customer would be interested in, and that mid-journey face is then animated using the avatar. It's generative AI. Sitting underneath all of that is a load of ingested priming data, and that priming data comes from customer interaction, product information, FAQs. We also looked at review mining, so looking at what good experiences people had, what bad experiences people had, and to distill that into what's effectively the brain of the avatar. So you can have a very natural conversation, the type of conversation that everyone's used to having now with ChatGPT, but you can have it with a person. You can have it through typed input, or you can have it through voice. And the nice thing about voice is you can just click the button and you can, as if you would with a voice assistant. I'll play it and hopefully it'll make sense.
Hello, I'm thinking of buying a car. I'm not exactly sure what kind of car, whether it's a new or a used car, but I'd like to know how much I could afford.
We offer loans between £2,000 and £15,000. We provide credit responsibly and will only offer a motor finance deal that is affordable for you.
And what if I want to buy from a private seller? Can you finance that car?
No, we only finance vehicles purchased from reputable UK dealers.
I'll stop it there. But you can see what we've got here. This is unscripted. This is natural language interaction between the customer. This is not a customer yet as well. And this is where it gets quite interesting. So, a lot of the conversation we just had was all about, onboarding and post-purchase, and people have had a good experience, because they've seen this content. This has the ability to do that as well, to provide customer service. But interestingly, this one goes up the funnel. This takes us to consideration. I'm not sure which phone to buy. I'm not sure which product to have. How do I do this? All of those things that would typically, if you were in a shop, walking around a shop and you asking somebody about product, these are the kind of questions you'd ask. And that person in the shop would hopefully have that information at their fingertips, in their heads, about the products. What we can do here is we can, using the GPT or using LLM, we can then prime this avatar with all the content about the products, about any difficulties people might have, about the types of customers there may be. And, you can also prime them into the type of language they use. The avatar can be multi-language as well, but you can prime them with jargon, so you can give a whole glossary of terms as well. So it gets a lot easier for them to interact. So so that's kind of the next step. And if you think about the journey, the customer journey, the buying journey, you're going over the threshold into becoming a customer. You could see the same person, you could see the same face all along, right? That person could be there, when you're thinking about buying something. It gets quite interesting. Okay, I'd like to make the purchase, and then it could be real estate, it could be a service, it could be a product, it could be how-tos, and then you've bought the thing. And that person's, almost like your buddy, it's your product buddy that then has all the information about the product, and you can keep going back to that person and asking that person about it as well.
Yeah, and it's a product buddy that has the accurate information, and I guess also sort of you don't have they won't by mistake misremember something.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
When it comes to, I mean, as I said, what you are showing us right now is what we see on the AI news for the last week, now being able to do it at scale, because that's the trick here, to take all the nice things we see from Midjourney, etc. How do I actually turn it into something that works for hundreds of thousands or more customers? Now, who are your target customers for adaptive media?
So it's a customer that needs scale. So a customer, so traditionally it would be people where there are services. So it would be financial services. In the UK, it's quite interesting. There's a legislation that's come in, which is called Consumer Duty. And it's all about every customer that buys into a financial product or something that has a service connected to it, where they're paying over time. They have to have been explained to what they're buying into very clearly. And it has to be explained through a certain set of criteria. So that's been quite good for us, because it means that part of that process is that financial services companies need to have that backup content. Financial services, telcos as well. But if you sort of rewind it, when you look at the AI assistant that can give you product information, it could be anything. I mean, that's one of the dilemmas that we've got. We're talking to the sales guys about, okay, well, what conversations are we having and who are we having conversations with? It could actually be anyone. Anyone that traditionally would have had maybe a human being, or they might have had a fact sheet, or they might have had a store, or they might have had an email goes out with a manual. All of that can be replaced with AI powered person that has the information about the product and the service. So it's not a very clear answer, is it? But it's one of those. I think that the path of least resistance has always ended up in things like financial services and insurance, but you could easily take a step back and say, this could go anywhere.
Yeah, no, it can. And earlier on you said that if it's machine learning, it's Python. If it's AI, it's PowerPoint. There is also, for smaller companies, there's a limit where people might not be able to do what they ideally should. I mean, in the sense, if anybody could use this, then they would get much better customer onboarding, from buying a Visa service to, you said, financial service, or I just need to understand what the Hong Kong auditor does. All that can be explained, and then the customer feel happier. And if you're happier, then you're ease of mind, and then you're a happy customer, not a concerned customer. So I really like it.
Yeah, I think the other challenge that some of our clients have had is that they come to us with this idea that, okay, we want personalized video. They've explained what their data points are. They haven't got the data points. So the only thing that they would be customizing and spending a lot of money to generate lots of video, or setting up technology to say, hi Dave, here's your green car or blue car or red car, 3 options, and you're going to have it for 3 years or 4 years, because they don't have enough data. And our comeback there would be, well, look, we can create multiple variants on a video, but we don't need to go into like massive mass production mode, hyper-personalisation. In some instances, a simple customized landing page that is responding to your journey that you've come through from the ad. The ad has said, this car's great for families, and the landing page is a picture of families and how the car's good and the video is showing families. And this is something we did for Fiat, which was, we create 200 videos, and we didn't need to create 200,000 videos, but it was segmented by use case, maybe cities, and maybe, interests. And that's it. Sometimes you don't need that mass personalization, but you just need some customization. And again, the AI can take us on a bit more of a journey to have human beings talking the script. And
which take us to sort of the question, what are the underlying sort of AI technologies under adaptive media?
So three things mainly. So one is the personalization. So one is the ability to bolt together lots of scenes, and those scenes can be bolted together like Lego pieces. The other is the video avatar, so the ability to create humans. And then the other is text to speech. So the text to speech is the technology that you can type stuff and you end up hearing what you're typing, but that what you hear can be based on a real human or a synthetic voice, plus it can be multi-language. And the slightly kind of uncanny thing is where you hear somebody that is generated from a real voice, but they're speaking a different language, because you can do that. Yeah, and the interesting thing there is that the text to speech doesn't just do the translation; it interjects with the ums and the the ahs and the pauses in all the nuances of the way a certain person will speak. It will then recreate those things as well.
I mean, there is no, how do you say, there's no reason really to say, well, our product is in English, so we're going to stay in the English speaking world. No, your product can be for any language now, because you can explain it and you can have customers in that. So as long as you can just receive payments, I guess that's.
Yeah, there's the other thing. We were talking to someone the other day, and we're talking about having the CEO speaking local language, speaking multiple languages. And then the challenge there was that they were saying, well, hang on, if the CEO goes out and meets people this is in China, if he meets people in China and they start talking to them in Chinese, so there is that gap for now.
Yeah. No, I can see that. But as I said, it doesn't prevent you to provide a software as a service in any language now, because you can have this, and as long as you can just receive payments from that location. Now, when we looked at the BA video in the beginning, you said that was sort of sliced together, and there was a number of recordings, and that was the sort of the pre-AI stage. Now we've had generative AI come in the last, I think, 1.5 years now, I guess. What emerging technologies do you see in your field that is coming, like that's going to make even better or even more interesting?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Sora was, big news over the past couple of weeks. Because the way we're currently building our assets is we'll have maybe a presenter. The presenter will be AI generated. Maybe in some instances we'll do a blended shoot. So we'll do a blended human plus we'll use an AI version of them, so we can have them in different settings. So, there's things like that. There's little tricks you can do like that as well. And then their voiceover will then go over the top of footage. And that footage will typically be, B-roll. It might be of the office, or it might be, some stock footage. Obviously now with things like Runway, Sora has proven that, maybe you don't need the stock footage. Maybe that kind of, searching for that perfect shot, and you find out that everyone's been using it, your competitors have been using it. You've got the ability to create a completely seamless video that's generated from insertion points of edit of the digital human, the synthetic voice of that digital human as a voiceover over the footage. And that footage is synthetic, generated, and then coming back. And then the next evolution of that is to have the avatar. You've got your live avatar, your shopping buddy, or whatever you want to call that person, talking to you, and that shopping buddy can be generating data points while they're interacting with you. And those interactions can then be converted into, those data points can then be used to then generate the video content from as well. So you have video content, you have streamed avatars, plus stuff that is being generated on the fly in relation to the things that you've just asked about. And that's the kind of probably incremental, it's not like a massive leap, we're sort of the ingredients are starting to come together. So yeah, it's interesting times. Yeah, there's lots of other stuff going on.
With all these changes, what would you say? I mean, if you meet a founder to be today and says, hi, I want to start an AI startup, what would your recommendation be?
Just find out. I think to turn it around, I think you kind of want to understand what your target audience is asking for. I think that's one of the key things, is to not look down but to look up, and look at the target audience, look at the customer, what are they asking for, what are the pain points, what are they, we've been hearing stuff from customers saying, look, one of the most important things is to create great experience, for somebody that's with us. So the AI is, like any good technology is serving the purpose. It's sort of filling that gap. Yeah, I think turning it around to being, what AI should we have? I think that I would recommend focusing on what problem you're solving. I know it's a sort of obvious one, but that's it. It can become quite sort of shiny new object, if you're looking at technology and kind of getting excited about it. Then we take it out to the masses, and people are like, well, actually, we could have done that with this, or we could have done that. We're already doing this with email and having quite good results, and we haven't got a budget to pay for X and Y, and that's the other thing, what budget is this coming from? Is it putting people out of jobs, and I think there's a sort of ethical dimension there as well. And I think that they're the things, is it enhancing, is it providing a co-pilot to what people are already doing and allowing them to focus on other things? What's happening with those cost savings? So there are other dimensions that aren't just technological as well as social dimensions as well.
Yes, I think fundamental is that hopefully this will make more happy customer who stays on as customers with whomever they are doing business with, and therefore in essence the economies of the world will grow because you will not waste the money. Tony, and as you said also the sort of to be this crisp and clear when it comes to communicating. So Tony, it's been amazing and it's such a learning experience.
No, it's early days as well. I think one of the things that everyone says about this, it's the worst it will ever be. It's only going to get better, and that's what it's. And you think, okay, 6 months' time is going to be amazing, and then a week later something else comes out. So this is all it's moving quickly.
Yeah, but as you said, if it solves the customer problem, if it incrementally increases those percentages of customers staying on, then and I think what you showed us today is definitely just taking that huge step in making it presentable and easy to understand. What is my bill? What is the rules, etc. Tony, big thank you for being great guest at Startup Grind.
Pleasure. No, it's been good.
So we'll go over and check if there are any questions in the chat.